Let's see. Okay. I think I should be good. This happened yesterday, actually, on my autophagy live stream. I'll give it a second. I'll wait for people to confirm that they can hear me. Okay. Thanks, Maggie May. Appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Let's start this over. Welcome to another accountability live stream. Today is Friday, January 30th. I'll try to remember everything I said. It is currently 10:04 a.m. Good morning to everyone out here in the East. Good evening, though, to many of you out in the West. Hopefully, you are staying layered up. Hopefully, you're staying warm. I was just saying that last night here in Manila, it was cold. Now, my version of cold versus your version of cold is probably very different. But in the last 3 months that I've been here, it is typically anywhere between 85 and 95 degrees, depending on the day. And this is actually the cold part of the season, or the cold season, the dry season. And so I have no idea what hot weather really looks like here. But last night, it was like 75 out and windy. It was so cold, which is just very odd for me to say coming from Chicago, where I'm used to having below zero temperatures, negative wind chill temperatures. But I guess after you spend so much time in the same type of weather for months on end, having all of a sudden a 5 to 8 degree drop will do that to you. Anyway, with that being said, just let me take some time, say hi to everyone in here. Maggie May, Aisha, the writers, Paradox, Judy, the fasting avocado, put on the tiara, happy bunny, Sleck, Jeep Proanio, maybe, soaring soul, Tara one, Tanya. Hello, welcome. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for stopping by today. So I don't have a ton to talk about except to give you an update on where I'm at and how I'm doing and where my fasting protocol is and how I'm feeling mentally. And that's the whole point of these accountability live streams. It's an opportunity for me to share all of these without putting them in secrecy, is to share what my journey looks like and put accountability on the table without walking away from things when things don't go my way. When I used to be in that all or nothing mentality of gotta do it perfectly or don't do it at all. During my nothing phases, that's when accountability went out the window. And these accountability live streams are really helpful for me to say, hey, I'm still here. I might not be perfect at what I'm doing. My fast might not be the longest. My eating might not be the cleanest, but it's not going to stop me from doing what I need to do, which is the ultimate goal of being happy and healthy. And that's my hope for all of you who are in here or who watches this in the future, is that your goal is to be happy and healthy. We all have the same goal here. How we go about it can vary, but I do believe that there are some general basic rules that we can follow to get us there. So, as I say that, I'm just going to break into nerd stats here. I will go over chat, so don't worry, chat. Please continue to share your journey, continue to share what's going on with you, whether good or bad. Remember, it's very easy to talk about the good days. It's very easy to talk about how long you fasted for, how clean your eating is. But it's another thing to share when you're struggling, when you're having a hard day, when you are not doing what you intended to do. Those are the important days to show up for yourself, because those are the times you really need either feedback or community or some kind of inspiration or motivation, or the reminder that habits are what will get you to your end goal. That imperfect consistency is what will get you to your end goal. Today is Friday, January 30th, at least here in Manila. I know it's the 29th for many of you, but today is day 817 of my journey. Has it been a perfect 817 days? You and I both know that is not the case. It has been, I don't want to say it's been a struggle, but it's been a journey. And there have been a lot of good days. And I will say the last couple weeks for me have been pretty rough, isn't the right word, but it's been challenging. And I'll break into that in a second here. But even as I say that, today's Friday here. Most people who have that all or nothing mentality will tell themselves, well, it's Friday. So what's the point? Why even do anything? Why even fast? Because you know what? I have plans this weekend. Really? Are your plans on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Does that mean that for the next 3 days, it's just a weekend of whatever? And here's the thing is it can be, but I still think that there's some importance or there's a ton of importance in still being aware of what you're doing. I do really think that's important for many of you who think that, well, it's the weekend, so who cares? The fact of the matter is, your body cares, your health cares, because it doesn't stop. You can pretend to walk away from it. You can pretend it didn't happen, but eventually your health will catch up with you. I have somebody close to me in my family that suffered a really health a big health issue, and it's really kind of shook me in a way because I'm very close with this family member, and it just reminds me of how important it is to take care of your health and to not just say, well, I'll just start tomorrow. I'll just let the weekend pass and then I'll worry about it then. For many of us, I get it. It's the weekend. You want to go out, you want to enjoy yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't mean that you have to walk away from what you're doing. It doesn't mean that you have to walk away from taking care of yourself. Hi, Wonder Pet. Nice to see you. Wonder Pet asks, when did I leave the States? I left November 15th. So it's been 2.5 months, but it's been closer to 12 weeks. I'm closing up on 3 months at this point if we're going through week wise. So let me share with you the last 10 days of my journey. If you are new here or you don't know what things have been like for me, I recently got sick and I don't get sick often. It happens maybe once a year, if that, sometimes once every other year. Knock on, well, here, knock on wood. But I happened to get sick, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world. There was really only one day where it was really bad. I was completely congested. I had a headache, and I literally took that day to turn off all the lights and just rest. I didn't leave my bed. I looked at my step count. It was 72 steps for the day. And the next day, I tried to make up for it by walking like 18,000 steps. And I really paid the price because the next day I walked like 14,000 steps. And then before I knew it, I felt bad again. I didn't feel as sick. I just didn't feel right. And that was a learned lesson for me is when I get sick that way, and if I know I'm not 100%, I should really take a little more time. I think that's the guilt of me saying, you're not going for your walks, you're not lifting weights, you're not. And I ended up using it as an opportunity to then say, well, I'm sick, so I might as well eat. And that's kind of what's happened over the last couple of days. So you'll see my weight now has pushed itself up. I have pushed myself up from somewhere in the low 140s, in the high 130s. And on the 21st of January, the day before I got sick, I was 149 and then 150.2. And then I dropped 8 pounds, which also goes to show the fluctuation on the scale. That number on the scale doesn't mean everything. I went from 150.2 to 142.8. But that might be because I spent the entire day in bed doing nothing, being sick, and maybe my body was fighting itself or fighting the sickness off. Whatever, I'll take it. I ended up eating that day 4,600 calories, pushed the weight up. 146.2 pounds the next day, ate again, pushed the weight up. By then, I was already feeling really bad about myself. I was like, well, you ate back to back days, you're sick, so might as well eat another day in a row. 6,000 calories, push the weight up to 150. If you look, I mean, I've only fasted in the last 10 days about 3 days. And that's typically not normal for me as somebody who fasts at least with an ADF protocol. On the 29th of January, which was yesterday, I weighed in at my heaviest at 154.8. So I'm just going to share with you on January 28th, 2 days ago, or for you in the States or Canada, a day ago, I ended up eating 7,600 calories. And I started to get into that all or nothing mentality where I was telling myself, you've been eating like shit the last couple days. What's one more day? And then in my head, I was like, well, I'm going to fast tomorrow, so I might as well. And this is the pattern I'm trying to break. I'm trying to break the pattern of telling myself, might as well, might as well. You're going to fast tomorrow, so you might as well just eat shit right now. That is a very hard habit to break out of. Luckily, even on that 7,600 calorie day, you'll see I ate 386 grams of protein. So I still made some conscious efforts where I could. Yeah, I ended up going to McDo, which is McDonald's here. I even mentioned that on my last live stream. I went back there again. I ended up getting a 20-piece chicken nugget. And I could have got a burger. I could have got an apple pie. I could have got a matcha McFlurry, which they have here, and I think it's just a normal thing. But I didn't get any of those. I said, just get the nuggets, go home, cook your other food. The reason I got it is because I knew I still had to cook and I wanted to eat something right away. So I was like, okay, just get that. It could have been worse. That's the way I look at it. Came home, ate a kilo of shrimp, vegetables, rice. But then afterwards, that's when the snacking came in. I started eating a bunch of cookies and eating some other foods that I shouldn't have eaten. This is the hard part for me is I always have an issue with control. And so that's why you'll see me eat 7,600 calories, but then try to keep things at bay by eating 3,400 calories if I can. But those are the harder days. The impressive thing that I see though is the fact that the control of eating, the calories I consume, they're not like they used to be. They're not 10,000, they're not 12,000. A lot of that has been under control. It doesn't mean that I'm not struggling because obviously the weight is pushing itself up. My fasting average, just it's been a minute since we've done nerd stats. And so I want you to see what old Jerome versus new Jerome looks like. If you look at the very beginning of my journey, look at the very first 3 months of my journey. My fasting average in the very first month when I started or restarted my journey in November was 93 and a half hours. My average weight then was 201.2 for the month. In December of 2023, which is 2 years ago now, 2 plus years ago, my fasting average was 92 and a half hours. My fasting average or my average weight was 182. And then in January of 2024, which is 2 years ago, my average fasting time was 98 hours. So for not almost, for 3 months in a row, my fasting average was in the 90s. I was averaging about a 4 day fast for 3 months in a row. You'll notice my weight dropped quickly. My average weight went from 200 to 180 to 166. And this is starting off at 220. At my heaviest, I used to weigh 235. And then ever since I believe February or March of 2024, my weight has stabilized somewhere between 140-ish to, well, just 140-ish. It's been around like, I would say, a 4 to 6 pound average over the month. But as we move forward into the future, as we look into like July of 2025, my average fasting time was not 90 hours. In fact, it was 27 hours for the month of July. That weight though was 154.8. That was July 2025 was the month I decided to move to the Philippines. And that was when I was under a lot of stress because I was like, I gotta sell everything. I gotta sell my car. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna live. And I ended up using that stress to eat. And then that's when I buckled down and I started live streaming every day and I put all of like my feelings out there. And that's when I live streamed for 100 days in a row. And that's when I really tightened things up. My average weight went from 155 to 149 to 146 to 143. And then in November of 2025 to 141. Not even fasting 90 hours. But the fact that I was able to push the weight down by fasting less, it meant one thing is that for me, the way I ate changed, which was big for me. Yes, this is a fasting channel. Yes, I could fast longer if I really wanted to push the weight down. But the one thing that I have to continuously teach myself is to eat better, is to have more control. And this is something that I'm currently working on today. Listen, for somebody who has had control issues when it comes to eating and having the all or nothing mentality, I have a lot of work to do. I'm totally aware of that. It isn't as easy as just eat better, just eat less, just eat cleaner. Yes, I know all these things, just like many of you do. But many of you are here, even with all of that knowledge, because you know it is not just that cut and dry. It isn't that black and white. And so, what I like to show people is that despite bad days, despite less fasting, despite more eating, is that I continue to show up, I continue to be accountable. And just by doing that, I have continued to keep the weight off. And yes, if you look, as we scroll down, it went from being 141 pounds average weight to 146.3 in December. And then for this month, currently at 147.7. That number is pushing itself up. I'm not surprised. The eating has increased, the activity has decreased. I'm not fasting as long. And so these are a lot of things to remind myself that, Jerome, you have a lot of tools you can use. There's a lot you can do for yourself. You just have to get at it. And that's why I'm sitting here now on the 30th of January on a Friday saying, I'm not going to wait until February 1st. I'm not going to wait until Monday because for many of you, how many of you are doing that right now? How many of you are telling yourself, well, the weekend's coming, so I'm going to worry about it on Monday? You know what? February 1st is coming. I'm going to just wait until the first of the month. Is that what you said on January 1st? Is that what you said on December 1st? No, you probably didn't because on December 1st, you were probably telling yourself, I'm going to start during the new year because the holidays are coming up. We've all been there. We've all done that. And the sooner you realize that you just need to push on your journey day in and day out, the sooner you will find success. The sooner you will build good habits. The sooner you will break that all or nothing mentality. As I talk about my issues in eating, you will see that my last 10 refeeds have been bonkers because even if I have big refeeds, there's usually a day or two between them. But you'll notice, look at the last times I've eaten: the 28th, the 26th, the 25th, the 24th, the 23rd, the 21st, the 20th, the 19th. I've been eating a lot more. And this would be a completely different story if my calories were showing 2,000, 2,200, even 2,500, even 3,000. I'm sure the numbers, the way I look, the way I feel in my clothes would be a lot different if they were around 3,000 and not 6,000, or a 7,500 calorie day, 7,600 calorie day. I do have plans for February. I mean, I am still very in that mode of, well, February 1st is coming. Let's put a challenge out. Let's do something different. And for me, not much is changing, except I know I have to continue working on the way I eat. Yes, I can put a normal, or I could put a longer fast under my belt. And in fact, fasting wise, just so you know, whenever this app decides to open and stop giving me ads, I am currently 32 and a half hours fasted. I'm really considering fasting again today to push my weight down because even after a 30-ish hour fast, I usually will be in the low 140s. This morning I was 146.6. And I guess at this point, I'm just like, I could put another day in. Because even if you look at my calories for the month of January, it's been wild. Calories in, calories out. For the month of January, I have had almost 90,000 calories in. Based on my TDEE, I have expended only 67,000 of those calories, which puts me in a 23,000 calorie surplus, or 6.5 plus pounds of pure body fat. Now, whether or not this is true, all I know is I'm up in weight. All I know is I have additional body fat on me that I need to lose. Did I truly eat 89,000 calories for the month of January? My answer to that is most likely no, because I usually will overestimate. I will overestimate my calories and I will underestimate my protein purposely so that I am reminded to keep my calories down and to keep my protein up. But it doesn't change the fact that I do this every day to give myself awareness. If you look for the month of September and October at the very bottom, my calories in for the month of September was 72,000. It was a lot more in check then. Look at the month of October, 57,000. I was at a very, very big caloric deficit for the month of October. Not even that big. If I am averaging, well, yeah, if I'm averaging, let's say, 70,000 calories a month expended, having a 15,000 calorie deficit is about 4 or 5 pounds of body fat, maybe four. So for the month of February, nothing really changes except I cannot eat 90 plus thousand calories for the month of January. And the thing is, January isn't over. I will be eating again tomorrow, which will push that number up. I am eating again tomorrow for sure because tomorrow I'm going out and I have plans. And so we'll see what that number looks like. But that's kind of where I'm at in terms of calories in and out. I haven't shown some of these nerd stats in a while, but I figure we might as well get back into them because that's what's helped me in the past. It is more than just fasting. Yes, every single day I get up, I put steps in, I try to walk at least 12,000 calories on average. I'm actually under that number. Part of it is me being sick. Part of it is me being in my head about things, but I'm still putting the steps in where I can. For the month of January, I'm averaging 11,500. So I might still hit it. Maybe I'll walk 13,000 steps today and push that number up. We'll see what that looks like. I do strength train every morning after a refeed. So if I eat late at night, let's say I eat dinner at 6 p.m., and let's say I'm eating all the way up until 10. The next morning when I wake up, I go to the gym, I lift heavy. That's really important to me. I want to share this because I have not talked about the 80/20 rule in a long time. For some of you who are wondering, what is 80/20? What do you talk about? What do you mean when you say 80% days and 20% days? So I like to live by this rule because I say to myself, I say to other people, you should have more good days than bad days. Your good days should outweigh the bad days. And if you think about 80/20, 80% days are days that I'm fasting, or they're days that I'm keeping my calories in check. They're days that I'm getting all my steps in. Even on my 20% days, I still get my steps in. When I talk about 80/20, I'm probably talking more so about keeping my calories in check or fasting, or if I'm eating, I'm making sure I'm not exceeding 4,000 calories. That's what counts for me as an 80% day. I should be doing that 80% of the time. The other 20% of the time, if I want to eat 10,000 calories, go ahead. Why? Because it's only 20% of the time. How does that figure out into the math? If you think about a 30-day month, you would have 5 days where you eat that way. The other 25 days, you're either fasting or you're keeping your calories in check. That's what I quantify as an 80/20. But if you look at this 80/20 split, I am nowhere near that 80/20 split. So I should not be surprised about the weight going up on the scale. I have had 15 80% days. My average calories are around 3,100, but that's only 15 of the 29 days. I'm currently at a 52/48 split when I should be at an 80/20 split at the very minimum. So, like I said, I am not surprised at the weight pushing itself up. I am not surprised that my clothes are fitting a little tighter or I see a little more bloat on me. I should not be surprised by that. That is an indicator for me to continue to show up and continue to keep pushing on. So, for many of you who are thinking, I got to be perfect, I got to do all these things in this perfect way, sometimes it's important to adopt imperfect consistency. And even when I talk about an 80/20 rule, that's literally imperfect consistency in its own right because it's not 100/0, right? You're not doing all or nothing. You're giving yourself some grace. You're giving yourself an opportunity to be like, I can't be perfect, and that's okay. And that's how you grow, and that's how you learn, and that's how you evolve. So those are the nerd stats for today. I'm gonna take some time here, just see what's going on with other people in chat. The writer says, great timing for me. I'm thinking about dinner. I need a distraction to push through. Hopefully this is helpful for you writers. If not, and you do end up breaking, just remember, you can still put mindfulness into the way you eat, but I totally get it. You'll have to keep me posted if you're able to push through. Aisha says, I'm on day 13 of my fast. Congrats to you, Aisha. Currently stalled for the second day at 186. I'm down 26 and plan to break tomorrow afternoon with green juice. So glad I hit my fasting goal. I'm glad for you. I'm proud of you. I am proud that you are, number one, that you got through it, but I'm just, for me, Aisha, the plan is to see what happens after this, right? I want to see you incorporate working on your other levers here. So let's see that. But that doesn't take away from you continuing to show up and be accountable. And I know it hasn't been the easiest, and I know it's hard to show up on the bad days, but I would love to see you continue this journey. And I would love to see shorter fasts with more controlled eating. But I know it's a tough road, so you'll have to continue to keep us posted. Thanks for sharing, Aisha. Thanks so much. Happy Bunny says, I'm so happy to catch a live. Happy Bunny, nice to see you. I got over my cold quickly. I made it to my dance class 2 weeks in a row. That's awesome. And again, this is a reminder that it is not just about fasting, that there are other levers to push here or to pull, however you want to imagine a lever. Is it isn't just about fasting. It's the way you eat. It's the way you exercise. It's putting consistency into practice. It's putting good habits into practice. Happy Bunny is saying, I've been active 2 weeks in a row, feeling stronger from my walks and training. I love to hear it, Happy Bunny. And it's just, it's great to hear you practice imperfect consistency in that way. So continue to keep us posted on your journey. Thank you for sharing. Select says, I've been good with eating clean this past week or two. My recent fasts are doing good with eating clean for the last week. Um, I see you just reiterated here. So recent fast 51 hours, 17, 12, 14, 24, 55, 13, 24, 12, 14, 32. My goal is 24 to 48 minimum. But what I love to see here, Slack, and for anyone else watching, is this is what imperfect consistency looks like. Just because Slack had a 17-hour fast and then a 12-hour fast and then a 14-hour fast doesn't mean that Slack shouldn't be hitting a timer. It doesn't mean that Select shouldn't be mindful of the way he's eating. In fact, that is when you should be showing up more. If you're not fasting for as long, you need to show up more because you now need to show up by eating cleaner. You now need to show up by getting your steps in, by putting those calories into use, by using those calories to burn them off, lifting heavy, retaining muscle, gaining muscle. So I love to hear it's like, it's great to hear that you've been eating cleaner this past week. Keep it up. Keep me posted on your journey. Thanks for sharing. Maggie says, I wish it was 75 here. I I wish I could give that to you, but at the same time, it's crazy how I think 75 degrees is cold here, which I just would have never thought those words would come out of my mouth. Wonder Pet says 2 years later, I've made no progress, but of course I've made progress, just not in the direction I wanted. I'm hitting reset again today. Oh, sorry, this isn't Wonder Pet. And actually, know it. I'll get into that in a second. Wonder Pet, if anything, all that means is if you think about your last 2 years, what has that really looked like for you? Has it been practicing imperfect consistency? Have you been showing up for yourself? Or has it been neglect where you're not thinking about what you're eating? You're not thinking about being in a fasted state or being in a feed state. And if you are in that refeed state, are you being mindful? Are you getting your steps in? Are you working on your sleep? All of these levers. And so if the answers to these are no, then all it means is you start showing up, whatever that might look like for you. You can do that here on these live streams. You can do it by journaling for yourself. You can do it by working with a community of others. But maybe all it means is to start working on your good habits and being accountable. Thanks for sharing with us, though. No, it says, I'm hitting reset again today. Sad face. No, it, I've seen you here before. And so the same goes for you. Sure, you want to hit reset, you want to start over today. I mean, that's respect anyway, because if it's Thursday for you or Friday for you, better now than waiting until Monday. So we'll look at that as a positive. But if anything, maybe what it means for you is if you hit reset today, it's the last time you hit reset. And this goes for anyone watching this right now. And I'm not talking about this bullshit of, okay, Jerome, I get it. I'll hit reset. And then on Monday, you're hitting reset. And then next week, you're hitting reset. What it means for anybody saying this is let it be the last time you do this. Let it be the last time that you hit reset and you just continue on your journey and you practice imperfect consistency. Keep me posted, know it. I appreciate it. Maggie says, I'm so disappointed in myself. I haven't been able to stick to my ADF challenge for over a week now. This cold weather has me reaching for comfort foods all day long. I'm not even getting my steps in. All I want to do is stay in bed with the covers on. And so I read this, Maggie, and I appreciate you being honest with what's going on. I mean, this is what I'm talking about with everyone else, to share the good with the bad. Because think about it, Maggie, you came on strong for the month of January. You were doing ADF, you had everything in check, and then the cold weather hit, just like life is doing its thing. And this is a reminder for anyone watching this. This is what I mean about having a plan, whatever that plan might be: ADF, OMAD, 7-day fasts, 14-day fasts, 1 month fasts. That can be your plan. But do you have a backup plan? Do you have enough discipline to keep pushing on and practice imperfect consistency? Because that's the question, Maggie, is even with that, and I know that there were some days where you weren't able to hit ADF, but that's the question too, is in the last week or so, despite the cold weather, have you been able to still hit a timer? Or did you tell yourself, what's the point? What's the point in even timing anything if I'm just going to eat this way? And that's where that reminder is: where are your healthy choices? Where are the mindful choices? But Jerome, I don't want to eat that. Fair enough. Can you still eat something mindful or healthy at the very beginning and then eat the other stuff you don't want to eat later? Because that's still a choice. That is still a mindful choice that you can make. Getting steps in, I know, can be very difficult, especially in this weather, but it also doesn't mean that you can't do things indoors, because there are things we can still do. We can do body weight exercises. We can walk around our house, our apartment. We can climb steps in our apartment. I mean, it's one of the things that I do. I don't live on the first floor in this building complex here, but I walk up the stairs instead of taking the elevator a lot of the times. I do that when I walk to the grocery store to pick up groceries. One of the reasons I don't buy groceries for the week, one, because I don't eat every day, but two, because I actually like walking to go pick up groceries. I like walking a flight of stairs to get to the store because it's exercise for me. It's extra activity for me. It's one of the reasons I don't like to order out or just eat out all the time. One, because you never know what they're putting in the food, but two, I get to do something active like cook and move around and do something. And so I kind of look at that as ways to just keep my body moving. And I think that's really important. So I feel for you, Maggie. I just hope you're able to do what you need to do to kind of get back into it, whatever that might look like for you. Hey, Melly Mel, welcome. Melly Mel says, today was a rough day for me. The all or nothing mentality crept back in. I mean, I know this is a struggle for many of us. And so that's why sometimes the reminder is, were you able to keep it at a short time frame? Were you able to say, okay, I want to eat, and like I said to Maggie earlier, did you put practice in eating something at least healthy at the beginning and then getting something after to at least kind of minimize that damage? And I've talked about this before: is damage control, is minimizing damage. Yes, you know you'll probably overeat. Yes, you know you'll probably go up in weight, but can you minimize that damage? Can you do things to minimize it from getting that bad? I'm sorry you had a rough day though, Melly Mel. You'll have to keep us posted. I know, I think a lot of us in our heads right now, I could be wrong, but I feel like some of us might be in that mode of, well, the 1st of February is coming. And you know what? It's Friday. I'm going to start on Monday. That is a habit that many of us have to break. So hopefully, for any of you watching this, you just continue to remind yourself that's something that you have to do. Dayru says, I have to wear lots of warm clothing, socks, and shoes and drink hot liquids in winter fasting because it's brutal. I mean, and that's the thing about fasting too in the winter. I mean, and take it from somebody that literally started his journey in November, December, January. And if you saw my stats, I was just sharing, I was averaging 92, 93, 98 hours during the winter months. So I know all about having to layer up, especially when I was walking outside in below zero weather. Um, but even in cold weather, doesn't your body burn more calories because your body is fighting to stay warm? Wouldn't that be a good thing too? I don't know. Just something to think about. So let me just see here if I missed anyone that I haven't run into. Hey, Danny, how's it going? Danny says, Jerome, I just want to say I wish you well. I'll wait to see the day you're no longer having to fast constantly because of binging. You'll get there. I'll still, oh, this is a troll post. It looks like one, but it's okay. Thanks. I appreciate the support. Um, Lemon Drop says, Maggie May, don't give up. We've all been there. The first day fasting after refeed was always the hardest for me, but by day two, I'd wake up feeling like a completely different, non famished human. And that's actually great encouragement, Lemon Drop, because the way I look at this is if you think about it, even for me, on days that are rough, I know that just one good day will get the motivation back. One good day will get me back into a groove of, okay, I got to push forward. I feel better now. I feel back. I feel like I'm back into that rhythm. So that's really great encouragement. And I really appreciate that. It's really nice to have people encourage people and say, you got this, you're going to be fine. So, with that being said, those are my nerd stats. We'll go ahead, we'll do fit check. If some of you are unaware of what fit check is, that's where I stand back here and I show you what I look like physically. Fit check is an opportunity for me to be accountable and be present. It's an opportunity for me to not hide, not keep things in secrecy, and still show up. Whether I am up in weight, whether I am feeling lean, I want to stand back there because it's my way of saying, hey, I'm not giving up. I'm not walking away from this. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. So, with that being said, we'll go through these photos like I do before every fit check. I have been overweight my entire life as a child, in my adolescent years, in my teenage years when I was morbidly obese, in my 20s, in my 30s, and even in my 40s. Now, I share all of those photos with you because, yes, I have been overweight my entire life. It's not like it just happened recently. And I say that because I have now lost that weight and I have kept it off naturally. I have kept it off naturally, no medication, no, I was going to say no injections. So, like, not Ozempic, not Wegovy, none of those peptides, not GLP-1s. I've never had weight loss surgery. I'm not on HRT or TRT. I'm not on hormone replacement therapy or testosterone replacement therapy. I've done this naturally and kept it off for over 2 years. And I say this as a reminder for many of you who think that you have no recourse. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't take your medication because I'm not your doctor. You need to do what's best for you. I'm not saying that you shouldn't look into GLP-1. I'm not saying that you shouldn't look into weight loss surgery. But what I am saying is if you have never practiced accountability and you have never practiced good, healthy habits before, maybe that's where you can put something new into practice and see if that's helpful for you. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to do fit check. I am wearing a long sleeve shirt today. It is a little cooler out, so that's kind of where I'm at. This morning I weighed in at 140. What was I at this morning? I was at 146.6. So like the mid 140s, but I know that I have extra weight on me. I've had a lot more calories in than calories out lately. So something I'll continue to work on. We'll do a front shot here. This shirt is a small from Japan. The nice thing about shirts in Japan is they're cut smaller and shorter, and so they fit me perfectly. I can't say that about in the US when I would buy a size small For adult, they're a lot bigger, which is why I wear boys' clothes instead. These shorts are boys' clothes though. I think these are size 12 to 14. So side shot here, rear. Uh, I do wear a compressed shirt. I do have loose skin right here, but this is also bloat and extra body fat. I'm sure my last DEXA scan had me at 17.5% body fat, which is more than average. Actually, it's in a very healthy weight or very healthy percentage. You know, the one thing that I love sharing too is it's been two, I'm trying to fix this. It's been over 2 years. And in the first, I would say 3 months of my journey, it immediately reversed my type 2 diabetes. It immediately reversed my high blood pressure. It immediately reversed my low testosterone. It literally gave me my life back because I can go out, I can walk for miles without getting winded, without getting tired. My energy is up. I feel comfortable and confident in my skin. My relationship with food has gotten so much better. And these are things that I will always take with me and things that I remind myself that nobody can take away from me, right? Is the success that I've had over the last 817 days. And instead of just showing all the pretty pictures in my life, this is why I this is why I talk about moments like this, the hardships of what I go through, because it's just a reminder to myself that, yeah, not every day is going to be a walk in the park. Not every day is going to be smooth sailing. And I keep bringing up imperfect consistency and reminding you that my life is not perfect because that is why I'm where I'm at today, because I do not practice looking for perfection. And instead, I practice imperfect consistency. I remind myself that every day is going to be a challenge. I will continue to work on my weight. I will continue to work on my eating, the way I fast, the way I sleep, because for any of you, it doesn't get easier. The older we get, it doesn't get easier. I think all of us will keep on an uphill battle. And at that point, it's just a matter of how willing are you to be disciplined? How well can you how well can you keep your habits in check? I think maybe the hardest thing on this journey is me still accepting imperfection. I think that's still a very hard thing for me to come to terms with. Telling myself it was still a good day without saying, well, might as well eat more. Because that's what happened 2 days ago when I had 7,600 calories. I had this part, or I had this notion in my head where I was like, well, I'm going to fast the next day. I might as well just eat X, Y, and Z. And that's what, in a lot of ways, I think that's where my head goes. Might as well. You might as well, you might as well, you might as well. When maybe I need to start reframing the way I say that. Not saying I might as well, but you can eat this, but I don't know. I haven't gotten that far in my journey yet. But when I get there, I'll keep you posted. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and I'll take Q&A. So if any of you have any other questions, if any of you want to talk about anything specific, please let me know. Hey, Spike, how's it going? Nice to see you. In the meantime, where's my thing? There it is. If any of you are looking for additional help when it comes to fasting, weight loss, or accountability, you can go to finallyfasting.com. You can book a one-on-one session with me if you'd like to go over a game plan and a strategy. Why did I lose my train of thought? Many of us know how to lose the weight. Many of us know what clean eating looks like. A lot of this is not rocket science. If you fast, you're going to lose weight. You're going to lose fat. If you eat cleaner, if you eat less, you're going to lose weight. You're going to lose fat. If you exercise, you continue to improve your cardio health. It's just a complement to losing weight. If you strength train, it's a great way to build muscle. It's a great way to boost your metabolism. Many of these things we know. You sleep well, you recover, and you rest. All great things. The execution is the harder part. The accountability is the harder part. If that's something you're looking for, you can check out finallyfasting.com. If you want to help support me in a different way, you can be part of the autophagy. You can be part of the Finally Fasting fam. By doing so, you can see a link to the description of this live stream. Clicking that link will help support me. If you notice there are people in chat, maybe with a different color in their name, that's because they're part of the Finally Fasting fam. They'll get a different color next to their name. You get to use custom emoji. You get your name at the intros of these live streams. And if you join the autophagy group, which we had, was it yesterday? Yesterday, we had the autophagy live stream, and those are always great because it's not just me on camera. Other people jump on camera, they share their story, they share their week. And yesterday was actually really great because yesterday, almost everyone that showed up on camera, most people who were there were already in maintenance mode. They had already lost their weight. They've already kept it off. And what they're doing is what I'm doing in a lot of ways. They're just learning to keep on their journey, to optimize, to tweak. So for many of you who might think, I'll never be able to lose this weight, I can attest to you. You can, if any of you join that, you can watch the old videos. You can see people who have already lost the weight, people who have shared their before and afters. It's not just me who has made this work. Many people have found that, yeah, all I got to do is just continue working at it, continue working on being my best self. EJ with a $10 super chat. I love the message here. I love that EJ donates. First of all, EJ, thank you for the $10 Australian donation. EJ says, "Hey man, I haven't forgotten about you. You're good. You're good." I mean, I haven't forgotten about you either. I in my head, I'm just like, I wonder how he's doing. I'm killing it with OMAD Carnivore. That's great. Down 20 pounds. I'll be in touch. I love that. I love that, EJ. Thank you for the $10 super chat. I appreciate you. I'm glad to hear it. I'm guessing you're also keeping it up with all of your training that you're doing right now. So I love to hear it. Thank you, EJ, for the support. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I think that's all I got. Let me just take some time here and just see chat. Wonder Pet says, I want to visit the Philippines. Is it costly to fly from the US? It depends. So for me, from Chicago, it costs anywhere, I think a round trip ticket's around $1,000. Although I only booked a one-way flight. So mine was about half that cost. So it depends. Cost of living is a lot cheaper here. Food is cheaper here. A lot of things are cheaper here. Just depends where you go. But even for an expensive plane ticket, sometimes you can kind of recoup that by just cheaper places to stay. How cheap food is here. But again, that depends. Melly Mel says, started the day good and I still hit the timer. And that's great, right? That's your habits being put in check. Just ended with the wrong food and way too much. I know it's a mental thing because I have a February plan and told myself only a few days left in January. So enjoy. And see, this is what I'm saying. And it's not like you're the only person because even I've thought that. Even I told myself, well, it's already January 30th. February's coming. I might as well just start. But I know that I can't. I know that it would be unwise of me to just let another day or two pass because, like I said, I've been the highest weight yesterday at 154.8. I mean, today I was 146.6. I know it was just a lot of water weight, especially after everything I ate the day before. But regardless, I know I'm still up in weight. And I know that if I just let another day or two continue and say, I'll start February 1st, it makes the uphill battle or the uphill climb even harder. At least you're aware of it, Melly Mel. And it also doesn't mean that tomorrow has to be this way, or Saturday or Sunday has to be that way. So you'll have to keep us posted. And if you do start February 1st, I mean, the only thing I can say is that's on you, right? I mean, you made that choice, you made that decision, but you're still hitting a timer. You're still trying to do the best that you can. So, in a lot of ways, it sounds like you're still trying to minimize damage. Spike says, Jerome, I'm not in the mood for fasting. How do you snap out of that mood and get on track? This is the hard part. This is the hard part for many people. I guess the first question for you is, if you're not in the mood for fasting, is it because you're trying to push a super long fast? And, I don't know if it's because you're telling yourself, well, an OMAD's not enough, ADF isn't enough. But if that was the case, then what are you doing? Does that mean you're breaking at 12 hours or 14 hours instead of knowing that you could push a 23 and then just eat for an hour or two? How do you snap out of it? Shit, I don't know. Are you weighing yourself every day? Are you wearing your old clothes that you know fit you well? Because sometimes that's what I do. I'll put on older clothes that I know fit me well just so I can look at myself in the mirror and be like, okay, it can't be like this. You have to get back on track. So it's that, it's working with other people in the community. It's even just, and Spike, you used to do it before. You used to ask people, does anyone want to do a 90? Does anyone want to do, right? So it might be that, just knowing that you're showing up. Maybe the accountability part is the hard part. There's a lot to it. I mean, you know all of this. You and I, we've talked before, and I know you know well enough to keep pushing yourself forward. So you'll have to keep me posted. Wonder if there is a subtle smug to the one way. I think I do that from time to time. I really wanted to do a one way and then travel when it became cheap, 3 to 6 months at a time. I get it. I get it. I don't know if you ever make it out this way, you'll have to keep me posted. So, yeah. Anyway, uh, Spike says, "Oh man, just keeps me maintaining, not losing. I want to rip out a 48 to 72 and start leaning out." I mean, let's go for it, Spike. My plan today. I plan on fasting again today. I don't know if I'm going to do it for sure, but if I end up breaking today, I really have to keep the calories in check. But I'm planning to fast today and push a 65. So if anything, maybe it just means getting through the day today. I think you know how this works too, just like other people say. When you get through one day of fasting, it starts that momentum. So maybe it's just getting through the first day. When was the last time you've done anything past 24? Just kind of curious. So, okay. With that being said, and I mean, even Spike's asking who wants to do a 100-hour fast. Somebody might be in here wanting to do it. So maybe they might take you up on that offer if they see it later in chat and put it in the comments. Anyway, everyone, it's 11 a.m. here. I have a lot of other work to do for my other clients, so we're going to start winding things down. By winding things down, I'm saying it's time for me to go. I don't know why I was saying it winding down. So, Spike also says, Jerome and others, secret to tightening loose skin. Papratikin. I don't know what that is. I'll Google it later. Thanks, Spike. I'll take a look. I'll take a look. So, with that being said, I am out of here, everyone. Thanks for stopping by today. A very special thank you to EJ Rich for the $10 Australian super chat. I always appreciate the support. To all my Finally Fasting fam members who support me in that way, thank you so much for their continued support as well. To my everyday people who are here, thank you for being here and supporting each other and being kind to each other. And I think that's it. Aisha says no fit check. Aisha, I did it earlier. Maybe you missed that part. I did it not too long ago. So okay. With that being said, I'm out of here. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. We will do this again on Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central. Hopefully 7:30 p.m. Central. I keep showing up late because I keep waking up late, and then I'm just like, okay, just another 10 minutes, and then I'll get out of bed. 7:30 p.m. Central on Sunday. Stay warm, everyone. if you're out here in Manila, stay warm as well. It's 75 degrees. It's cold out there. So, all right, everyone, take it easy. Here's my obligatory wave goodbye. Talk to you on Sunday. Take care.